Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the refresher webinar today on November 8th. And this is one of our monthly webinars that we do, and I'm really happy you could be with me. Today we're going to be focusing on the body scan and mindful movement, but also going to be moving into what I think is helpful with stress and sort of the ups and downs of life, and that's a little bit on letting go. And next month we'll do more on that as well as stress. I've been reading a really good book called The Upside of Stress, and this is by Kelly McGonigal. And if you've seen the video that I've shown in the past on changing our minds about stress or how to make stress our friend, she's really got a great take on really looking at it realistically and how stress can really be, we can view stress as really being helpful to our lives and not necessarily as the enemy. But anyway, so that's just a quick intro. So let's start, as we often do, with a mindful minute. And we're just going to really focus on breathing. So just get yourself into a good, comfortable position wherever you are, and pay a little bit of attention to your posture so that you're, upright and comfortable and relaxed, kind of striking that balance, and closing the eyes if you like. You can always keep them softly open. And just to begin bringing ourselves here and now, letting go of the past and also letting go of what we're thinking about doing later, just breathe. That's all we really need to do, is just be aware of our breathing. So you might take a couple of deeper breaths. Breathing in deep, you can feel that fresh air coming in and energizing you in a sense. You can feel the rising that brings to the body. And breathing out long and slow, you can feel that sense of relaxing and letting go and softening, but also arriving. Just let yourself arrive through your breathing. Just feel the breath in and out. You might focus on the sensations of your breathing so that you really feel it going in through the nostrils and the throat and the lungs, all the way down to the belly. And you really feel it on the way back out as well. Maybe just following one full breath, noticing the beginning of the in-breath, the middle of the breath, and then the end of the out-breath. It's that simple. Just breathe. Allow yourself to be right here, right now, with the breath. And so that is our mindful minute, or mindful purposeful pause, to start our webinar today. And again, thank you for joining. You might check in with yourself, just notice how that feels, perhaps a little bit different than when you first got on the call. But this is really a great way to kind of, control our own energy and our own awareness. And so I want to start today's webinar with this quote from Jack Kornfield. We need to remember that where we're going is here, that any practice is simply a means to open our heart to what is in front of us. Where we already are is the path and the goal. So I like that because it's really simple, and when we don't have to make this whole thing complicated about trying to be mindful. Anything that we do that brings us into the here and now, whether you use the breath or the body or thoughts or whatever it is really, as Jack Kornfield says, is whatever brings you right here, any practice. And of course, he includes the opening of the heart I think is really important as well, which to me really means being gentle and kind with ourselves. You know, we don't have to do this a certain way or the right way. We just have to do it. And that also means opening our heart to others as well. And I think that, of course, is where the real benefit can lie. So just want to open it up and ask you how things have been going. I know we have some regulars on the call, some folks who are really making this a regular practice in your life. So, you know, what's working, what's not working? Does anybody have any comments? You can either use the chat feature or feel free to speak up. But just kind of wanted to open it up and, you know, ask you how your experience has been and how you've been able to integrate this into your life. Anyone? I know it's always a little harder with a webinar format, but please do feel free to chime in if you have any feedback or thoughts or questions or observations about your own practice. So that second bullet there, just want to point out that developing patience, curiosity, and being kind to yourself are all important. We're going to do the body scan today. We're also going to do, towards the end, we're going to do a meditation on letting go. So remembering to be patient, to be kind, it's to be curious about yourself. And this next quote here, just another definition. Mindfulness means maintaining a moment-by-moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations and surrounding environment. So the next part of it, we're going to focus in on the last part of the webinar, and that means the acceptance part. Mindfulness also involves acceptance, meaning that we pay attention to our thoughts and feelings without judging them, without believing, for instance, that there's a right or wrong way to think or feel in a given moment. So when we go through the body scan, that's one thing to keep in mind as we kind of travel through the body, and being aware of different parts of the body may bring up different thoughts and beliefs and feelings about ourselves and our body. And so that's natural. And so I'm not saying that's bad if that's happening. What I'm saying is just noticing those judgments, being aware of them, letting go of the judgment. There doesn't need to be a right or wrong way, but to be aware of those things when they do arise as we go through the body scan or any practice for that matter. So I do want to show a brief video, again, by Jon Kabat-Zinn. This is one of the 9 attitudes of mindfulness. I've got a couple here, so this is actually attached to the meeting invite, so you'll have this whole lineup for today's agenda. So there's 2 of them. One is on acceptance. There's 2 separate links here. One is on acceptance, one is on letting go. And so I'm going to show the one on letting go. And let me bring that up. Hopefully there's no problem with the video. If I can find it, that would be good. Let's try this. Here we go. All right. So I just got a message, the audio is not coming through from a couple of you. So let me back up and see what I'm doing wrong here. Let's see. Give me a moment. Let's try that. That might work.
Letting go, we could think of as the opposite of clinging or grasping. There's a certain way in which when we want something, we grasp it, we cling to it, even if it's an idea. And very often we get very fixated in that kind of a way. Letting go is reminding us that it's possible to actually not get involved in grasping and clinging to what we want and trying to push away what it is that we don't want. Because it's inevitable that things will arise that are unpleasant and we'll want to push those away, and that other things will arise and they'll be pleasant. We'll want to hold on to them. So letting go really means letting be. It means allowing things to be as they are and not be too caught up in having to have them be a certain way when the evidence is they already are not that way. So therefore not forcing. It of course goes with not striving as well, allowing things to be as they are. In India, they sometimes use a particular way of trapping monkeys, where they take a coconut and they cut a small hole in one end, and then they tie the coconut with a wire to the base of a tree, and they put a banana inside the coconut, and then the monkeys come down from the trees and they put the hand in the coconut, but the hole is crafted so that if you grasp the banana, you can't get your hand out of the hole. The fist is too big. So you have to let go of the banana to actually release your hand. So the monkeys don't want to let go, and that's how they're trapped. So letting go, or letting things be as they are, means allowing the recognition that when you are caught by your own desire, by your own attachment to things being a certain way, that's painful, but that the letting go is actually the doorway to freedom. And it's something that you don't do once. It's something that you practice over and over and over again, moment by moment by moment. Every time, excuse me, every time you catch yourself clinging to something, you remind yourself it's possible to just let it be and to just let it go. The breath can remind us of that too, because every time we take a deep, because the breath can remind us of that, because every time we take a breath in, we have to let it go. Because otherwise there's no room for the next breath. So it's a natural part of life to receive and then release. Receive and let go. There's a certain way in which.
All right, so that's letting go, and just a reminder that there are other attitudes that kind of help the practice. The other one that you might want to watch is on acceptance. And so that's one that you might go back to. As I said, I included the agenda on the meeting invite, so if you want to pull that up, you can always do that. All right, so let me get back to my agenda here. And so our next step is to do the body scan. And, you know, again, I don't know if this is something that you folks practice or not, but it's one that can be inserted into your kind of meditation rotation as you see fit. A lot of people I know use it towards the end of the day, sometimes to fall asleep. But it's something that can be done quickly. You can do it in, you know, a minute or two. This will last probably about 7 or 8 minutes. But you can also do it longer. There's a lot of body scans that take 20 to 30 minutes if you have the time and the patience to do that. Yes, good comment about using the body scan when trouble sleeping, and it works well. It does. And I do it as well. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and all of a sudden the mind just gets really active and starts thinking and worrying and ruminating. And the body scan is a great way to kind of get out of your head into your body. And that's kind of what it's like. So enough talk about that. Let's do the body scan. So we'll sit, obviously. You can do the body scan laying down or even standing up, but the traditional body scan is done laying down. So if you want to try that, you might someday. But for now, sitting is perfectly fine. So again, find a position that's comfortable for you in your chair. Try to find that balance between relaxation and alertness, being awake in the moment, closing the eyes, or using that soft downward gaze. And just bringing your awareness right into your body. Starting off, we're going to notice our left foot. Come right down, bring your awareness and attention down to your left foot. And just being curious, kind of with your beginner's mind, feeling the contact that your left foot makes with the ground. Noticing the different touch points, perhaps the heel, the balls of your feet, toes. Maybe noticing the arch where it's not making contact. Just really sensing into the foot itself and any sensations that you're aware of there. You might be aware of your toes on the left foot. So see if you can isolate the toes, the big toe from the little toe, the toes in the middle. You can always move them or wiggle them. That's one way to kind of really get a sensation. And so now moving up the legs, so being aware of any sensations in the ankle area and the lower leg, the calf and the shin. Maybe letting your awareness travel up and down this part of the leg. And then coming up to your knee, just noticing the knee itself, the back of the knee, the front, the kneecap, the sides. And then up into the thigh, pretty large muscle and bone and body part. So maybe being aware of the volume of the thigh, and then extending that awareness so that you feel the whole leg and foot at once. Now coming up into your left side, so your left hip area, left buttock, contact with the chair, letting your scan move on up into the left side of your torso, being aware of any feelings you notice there. Right on up towards the armpit, And then let your scan move right on down your arms so that you can feel the upper arm, the elbow, the lower arm, the wrist, down into the left hand. And in the same way we did with the foot, paying a little more attention to the left hand, noticing the palm, fingers, thumb, back of the hand. Just kind of exploring this area with your awareness, being aware of any sensations you might notice, maybe some tingling or sense of aliveness in the hand. And now letting your awareness move back up the arm, the left arm, all the way up to the left shoulder. Noticing the shoulder, back, the top, maybe even feeling the shoulder from the inside out. Now letting your awareness come up the left side of your throat and neck, up to the left side of your face, so that you can feel the left jaw and cheek, side around the ear and the temple, coming up over the top of the head, the crown, and then down the right side, so the right temple, the right ear, the right jaw. And then paying some attention and exploring around the face, muscles around the mouth, the nose and the eyes. And again, just being aware of what's present. What do you notice? Might be some tension, might be a sense of calm and relaxation. And then let your awareness come down the right side of the neck, the right shoulder. Again, being aware of the shoulder, top of the back and the side, the inside. And then all the way down the right arm to the right hand. And again, exploring the palm, fingers and thumb, back of the hand, noticing any sensations, aliveness. Then being aware back up the arm, the lower arm up to the elbow and the upper arm. And bringing your awareness into your chest, right into the heart area, so that you can notice the breathing within the chest. You can maybe even sense the heart beating. So you're kind of exploring the interior space of the chest. And then also noticing the outside of the chest, back itself, the upper back. And then letting your awareness drift down into the belly, through the rest of the torso. Again, sort of exploring this from the inside out to the pelvic area. You might become aware of thoughts that come up as you explore different parts of the body. Just noticing those, letting them be. Just staying with paying attention to the body part itself. And now letting your awareness drift down into your right leg, starting with the right thigh. shin and calf area, all the way down into the right foot. And again, exploring that sense of touch and contact your foot makes with the ground. Being aware of the toes, different parts of the foot. And then let your awareness expand, and so that you're aware of your whole body now, from your toes on up to the top of your head and on out to your fingertips. And just be aware of your whole body sitting. You might be aware of the whole body breathing, feeling that sense of rising and expansion on the in-breath and contraction and relaxing on the out-breath. Just breathe with the body for a moment or two, feeling the whole body. Maybe even being aware of the space around the body. And before we close the meditation, just noticing what this state of awareness is like for you. And when you're ready, slowly open the eyes as we finish the meditation, the body scan. All right, so that's the body scan. And if you have any comments about that, let me know. Again, it's a little different than focusing on the breath, but good way to kind of really pay attention, getting out of the mind and the head to the body. And as you can see here, kind of connecting the dots between thoughts, feelings, and body sensations. And part of it is accepting, just accepting what's there, not trying to change anything with the body, not even if there's discomfort or pain or a sense of not liking things the way they are. You know, it's just sort of accepting it as it is. And one of the reasons we do that is to kind of bring that accepting attitude into the rest of our day. So that's what I'm going to move on to now. And that really has to do with, well, before I move into the letting go piece, a little bit on mindful movement. So if you want to do some formal practice, you can do the body scan and mindful movement. Mindful movement can be anything from, you know, gentle yoga to just stretching, mindful walking, stair climbing, whatever it is. This is a great way and a very good alternative to still doing a meditative mindful process. You know, bringing that that awareness to the here and now. As you're going somewhere, as you're doing things, as you're walking down the hall to get a cup of coffee. And then why not extend that to making the coffee and drinking the coffee or tea, and really bringing your awareness into the whole experience of whatever it is that you're doing. And as a reminder, you know, kind of doing that informal practice throughout the day. So, you know, being aware of everyday activities mindfully, or in this, you know, part of the informal practice in this part of the course is to be aware of pleasant events. You know, just noticing when pleasant things happen to you and being aware of what your reaction to that is, what beliefs you have about that. So you'll see as I scroll down, and this will be in the document that I attached to the invite, there are these links. As you know, if you've taken the course, is go right to our website. So there's the body scan one. There's 10 mindful movements, which is really a nice, slow, methodical movement by Thich Nhat Hanh. There is a walking meditation that you can follow, and then it's really easy to just do on your own. You can do a walking meditation even in your office or in a area where you only have, say, 10 steps, and you can just kind of walk slowly and really pay attention to the walking itself. But you can also do it outside or on the way to a meeting, or and really paying attention to whatever sensations you feel while you're walking. There's also mindful eating. You can do a raisin or a piece of chocolate, and there's a couple of links here for gentle mindful yoga as well if you want to try that. So there's also readings and videos here. There's the 9 attitudes right here if you wanted to listen to some of those other ones. And then if you want something a little more vigorous, this mindful movement to nourish your spine is a little bit more, really kind of get the blood flowing and a little bit more of exercise in a sense. I mean, it's not meant to be exercise, but it is, it's a great mindful routine. But so getting back to letting go, what I'd like to do with this practice here as a way to close out today's class is to talk a little bit about letting go, just as a practice of accepting things as they are, the way we kind of did in the body scan. But sometimes when we are going through life and, we notice negative things, I mean, all you have to do is get out on the highway, in this part of the world, and it's not hard to find negative triggers out there, right? So I've been reading this great book about letting go of negative emotions. And the mindfulness piece of it is so important because as we practice being in the moment, we become more acutely aware of what our thoughts are, what our emotions are, and usually those are very linked, and especially when we're triggered. So one way to deal with that I teach in the stress lesson is to not get caught up into that thought process, not let the stressor and the trigger kind of carry you away, but try to interrupt that stress cycle, right? But I also want you to think about trying to go a little bit deeper so that when you sense a negative emotion, we're going to practice trying to let it go. But before we do that, we're really going to feel a little bit. Because think about it, when we experience a negative emotion or a negative trigger, what we want to do is we want to get rid of it. Sometimes we'll do anything we can to avoid it or to mask it or to just, get away from it, okay? So this practice is going to be trying to recognize it, accept it, and sort of be with it for a moment or so, and then try to let it go. Then try to say, okay, maybe I choose not to be with this negativity, and just really try to let that go. So that's kind of what we'll be doing in this meditation of letting go. So what you might do, you might bring to mind some minor stressor that you're feeling today or recently in your life. And I would say don't pick something big. If there's something going on in your life that's more of a major stressor, let's not deal with that now. Let's just deal with the minor, small stressors. So take a moment to think of something that you feel worried about or stressed about or upset over. And when I will bring that up in the middle of the meditation, you can bring that up, and then we'll do some practice with that. Okay, so any questions before I start the meditation? Okay, so again, finding a good comfortable position in your chair, closing the eyes, letting your awareness settle into the body, feeling the weight of gravity, just feeling the body settle, sink into the chair. Let that sense of gravity wash right down through your body, all the way down to your feet, so you can feel your feet, the connection there. And just be with your body in the moment. And now we're going to come to our breath. And with your attention and your awareness, just follow your breathing. And if you like, you can take a couple of deep breaths. It can help us to focus on the breath itself and help us relax if we really let go and let the out breath be longer than the in breath. So just taking a couple of deeper breaths and allow ourselves to settle and relax a little bit more. And then just follow your breathing, being aware of each breath, feeling the in-breath, the out-breath. You can even say to yourself, breathing in, breathing out, or in and out, or whichever words you choose. Just establishing a mindful presence through the breath, using the breath as an anchor to the present moment, kind of a gateway to the here and now. Just breathing gently, naturally, and easily. And I'm going to remain silent for a moment. And when I do, just paying attention to any thoughts that arise. Just noticing thoughts that come and go. And you don't have to return to the breath unless you choose. But in this part of the practice, just being aware of thoughts and just kind of staying with them, not getting caught up in a particular thought, but just noticing thoughts as mental events arising in the mind. Sometimes they hang around for a bit and then leaving. So let me be silent for a moment or two and just practicing with your thoughts. You might notice getting lost in thought. Sometimes thoughts associate and kind of form a chain. You might notice a kind of thought, might be an image or sort of the sound of an internal voice. But try to just detach a little bit from the thoughts. Try to kind of feel maybe you're sitting in a theater, sitting in the audience, watching your thoughts across the screen come and go without latching on to them. And if you do get connected with a particular thought, just unhooking with that thought, just letting them come, letting them be there, and letting them go. And now at this point, bring to mind that minor stressor. Just notice what this feels like. Perhaps being aware of thoughts that arise when you bring up this event in your life. Being aware of what emotions are attached to it. And instead of trying to push it away, just for the moment, first recognizing that it's there. allow it to be. Just sit with it for a bit. You might notice, as I said, what thoughts come up, what feelings come up. You might also notice, do you feel this in a particular part of the body? Maybe there's some tension or tightness. Sometimes we feel stress in a particular area, maybe our chest or throat or mind, in the forehead area. Where do you feel it? What do you notice about it when you call to mind this particular event or stressor? You might take it a step further and investigate it with kindness, just kind of noticing what is it about this that's bothering you. So maybe kind of like going a little bit beneath the surface. Does it bring up other associations of things in your life? Is it part of a pattern? What insights might you be aware of? And now, as best you can, see if you can just let go of it. In the moment, you can choose to feed it or free it. See if you can just let it go. See if you can kind of reframe it. Maybe there's even something slightly positive about it. See if you can reframe it, put it into a different perspective, and then consciously let it go. Let it be. And then one way that we can deal with this also is to moving back with our breath, feeling the in-breath, and then when you breathe out, letting go on each out-breath, letting go of any tension that you noticed, letting go of any thoughts, emotions, just breathing in, letting go. You can even try breathing in something positive, something uplifting, something soothing, and then breathing out, letting it out of your body, almost like draining it out through your fingertips or your feet, just letting it all go. And then just again, just breathe. Just as we finish, just breathing, just feeling the breath again, maybe taking one last deep breath, allowing yourself to relax just a little bit more. And when you're ready, finishing the meditation today, I'll finish this one with a bell. Opening your eyes and coming back to your surroundings as we finish that meditation. All right, so thank you all for being with me. Any last comments? What did you think of that one? Wonder how that felt to you, kind of having a different kind of focus with the thoughts. We really kind of, instead of pushing them away, just sort of being with the thoughts. So try that practice in the coming week. And a couple of words of thanks. Thank you also, folks. And remember, here's some reading homework if you'd like. There's also a couple more videos and the links. If you want to try some of those links before we close, feel free to do that. And thank you all. It was enjoyable. Yep. Thanks to everybody. And so remember, we'll do this again next month. I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, but second Friday, 10:30. And hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Be well and be mindful, everyone. Take care.